Alright, hopefully you just saw the last part, and if you did, you noticed that if you stayed until the end, that I was cut off. So I was gonna say that I'm enjoying this, so I'm gonna make a part two, which is what I'm doing now, which might not be that long. We'll see how long the battery lasts for, but I guess I could mention it if you haven't seen part one, then go and do that first. Um, anyway, My Own Private Idaho. Yeah, I I definitely enjoyed this. I thought it was a good movie. Um, I guess that's it. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. We have seen no evil, hear no evil. I thought I had. Oh well. Um, I watched Stir Crazy recently. I don't know. Maybe I don't. I don't have that here. Oh well. Stir Crazy was really enjoyable, and so I wanted to pick this up. And I didn't like this quite as much. You know, both movies starring Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. And I'd never seen those two movies before. Although I did recognize a few scenes from Stir Crazy. Maybe I have talked about that before. I can't remember. Um, so I did recognize a few scenes from that. So I think I've seen some of that before, but I had never seen this. And it was a bit tame, to be honest. The plot doesn't allow for a lot of action because he's blind and he's deaf, and so they always have to kind of look at each other and to be able to communicate. Otherwise, the movie wouldn't be realistic, and so that doesn't allow for a lot of outrageous things going on in a way because they need to be aware of each other and to understand each. Anyway, I don't know if I'm making sense, but I did feel like it was a fun idea, but partly it was kind of not really. It was kind of a disfavor or whatever to the movie, if that makes sense. It wasn't. It didn't always work in the favor of the movie. Anyway, but overall, I mean, this is definitely a classic comedy. But I do think that Stir Crazy is a better movie. This next one, though, is the best out of the three. This is also a movie with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, but it's mainly a Gene Wilder film because he doesn't really appear until later on. But this was such a fun movie. This was almost like a new favorite movie of mine. Not really, but almost. Takes place on a train, and it's this kind of murder mystery thing, but done very lightheartedly or whatever. And there's this scene I love where Gene Wilder, who's on the train, he falls off the train, and then he needs to find his way back to the train, which is obviously traveling fast. And it was just such a blast. Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, then I picked up the Jim Gaffigan Show, season 1 on DVD, because I had watched Jim Gaffigan's stand-up specials on Netflix, really enjoyed them, and I knew that this show existed, and so I decided to pick it up. It's based on his life as a comedian and as a father of 5. Yes, he actually does have 5 children with his wife. That's his wife. Well, that's not his actual wife, but she plays his wife in the show. And there's a lot of fun stuff in this. I do like his comedy. He's actually one of those rare comedians nowadays who does well. Most not just nowadays, but I guess dirty jokes in stand-up has always been common. But he's one of those clean stand-up comedians who really makes it work. And so you see, you do recognize some of his stand-up in this from his specials, which is just a good thing, I think. And then there's some cameos in this show, quite a lot of cameos actually from celebrities. Macaulay Culkin appears as this mystery character, and every time he appears, Jim Gaffigan is like, "Aren't you?" Never mind, he thinks he sees Macaulay Culkin, and he's like, What are you talking about?" And it's every time he's like, aren't never mind. It's so much fun to see Macaulay Culkin in this. It's been a while since I saw him in anything. So yeah, that's one of the best parts of this show, I have to say. Even though it's a fun show overall. I do want season 2 on DVD as well, but it's not released yet. But I think this was released less than 1 year ago. So I guess there's still hope for a season 2 on DVD. I guess speaking of stand-up comedy, this documentary, Mystery Loves Comedy, is about the art of stand-up, including these people and many, many, many more. It's a Talking Heads documentary about stand-up, really, by Kevin Pollak. And the list of well-known names here is unbelievable. It says here more than 50 modern comedy legends. That's not really an exaggeration. All of the most of these 50 people are really recognizable, almost just as recognizable as these people here. Almost. It's not a bunch of no names and a few known people. It's truly a bunch of A-list people. Anyway, then we have two travel documentaries from Billy Connolly. I wanted to get that big box set of his 4 slightly older travel shows / stand-up shows, or world tours as they're called. This one is of New Zealand, and this is England, Ireland, and Wales. The only one that I don't have is Australia, because I do have a box set which contains the world tour of Scotland, which was the first one he did. And yeah, I was gonna get the big box set with all 4. Then I realized that, well, they are released individually, so I might as well just get them because it's cheaper that way. This came in a slim pack, which I'm not too happy about, but I guess who cares really. I enjoy them. I do like. I mean, it's not really a lot of travel going on. I mean, it's pretty comforting. I mean, it's not down and dirty, gritty travel or whatever. Like if you've seen Michael Palin's travel documentaries, it's nothing like that. It's more comforting travel, or more comfortable travel, and it sort of revolves around his stand-up a little bit, which I'm sure you know that Billy Connolly is a stand-up comedian, or well, anyway. Yeah, speaking of stand-up, that was just a happy coincidence. But yeah, so I do enjoy these, and I am looking forward to seeing Australia at some point. But there's a lot of other travel documentaries that I do prefer, but that's a little bit different, I suppose. Some random stuff here. Found this at a secondhand store. Hammerfall, One Crimson Night. This is like the first metal band that I ever knew about because my friend used to talk about them when we were like 8, 9 years old. It's never been really a favorite of mine. I think I've seen them live maybe twice. At least once. I can't remember. But it's you know, as a Swede, I do like them. I do respect them, and they're pretty popular. But as far as metal go and heavy power metal, there's some stuff that is a lot better than this. This is fairly cheesy stuff. I would recommend the band Helloween like 10 times more than Hammerfall. But they are a pretty solid metal band. And they are from Sweden, so. Then a movie called The Doom Generation by Greg Araki, which is a documentary. No, this is hardly a documentary. It's a movie that I've been wanting to see for many years now, and it was a bit underwhelming actually. I don't really have too much to say about this. I don't really know exactly what it was about ultimately. I didn't really care too much though. But it's pretty violent and surreal, pretty disturbing. He's the one who made Mysterious Skin, which is a movie I saw many years ago and I really loved. So that's why I know Greg Araki's name, and that's why I want to see most of his movies, because of that movie, Mysterious Skin. And that movie, the Doom Generation, was certainly not as good as Mysterious Skin, but I do think people generally like it, but I thought it was just okay. School Ties. I became a bit curious. Well, one day I found myself curious about what Brendan Fraser is up to, because I hadn't seen anything with him in a while. I think it's been since Furry Vengeance, since I saw him in anything. And I found this interview where people commented that he looks sad and depressed, and and I was a bit taken by that. Like, oh, I hope Brendan Fraser is doing okay. You know, that he's not doing horribly, because it seemed like he might be in a pretty rough period right now. And over the past few years, he had a divorce, and he had to give her a lot of money after the divorce and stuff like that. And he hasn't received a lot of parts lately, and I don't know. So I hope he'll have a comeback soon. But so because of that, I wanted to go back and watch a bunch of his movies that I hadn't seen, because I used to be a really big fan of his. I think I got George of the Jungle on VHS when I was a kid, and I watched it a lot. Well, maybe I didn't have it on VHS, maybe I just saw it on TV, but I saw that many times. And then I got Dudley Do-Right on VHS, which is not a very good movie according to most people, but because of the nostalgic value, it's one that I really like. And I saw that a bunch of times, and then Bedazzled was a favorite of mine. And so I was in that age, like between 8 and 12, 13, 14, when I really liked his movies. But for a while now, I haven't really seen anything with Brendan Fraser. And so anyway, so I wanted to go back and see some of his movies, and School Ties was one of them, and another one was maybe his first one, I'm not sure, Encino Man, known as California Man in the UK apparently, which was School Ties was that's more of a drama, which was a pretty good film. As you can see, it has a pretty good cast with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. This one is more of a goofy comedy. He plays a caveman who is found and who comes alive, and that's it really. And then he's found by Sean Astin, and what's his name, Pauly Shore, and he tries to integrate into society or whatever. It's all a fun ride. It's okay. I had a pretty good time watching this though, late at night. But then some more comedies that I ordered from Amazon. Jungle to Jungle with Tim Allen, which I actually kind of like this. I don't think most people would say that this is very good, but I actually kind of like it, and it's with Martin Short as well, who I'm definitely a fan of. He always steals the show when he's in anything really. And then this was a terrible DVD, really bad transfer and stuff, but bad audio too. But Larger Than Life with Bill Murray, pretty good movie actually, pretty fun. I couldn't really get into this. This is another one that I had watched late at night, but then I paused it and returned to it the next day, and enjoyed it a lot more that day. Actually, I remember that day. That was a really good day, a good day of watching movies. But yeah, so I had a really good time watching this. But I would say check it out if you like comedy and Bill Murray. Not one of his more well-known movies or anything like that, but I did like this, and maybe I don't know. Is this on Blu-ray? I don't really know. Maybe it is. So maybe I'll try to upgrade that eventually. But I do like picking up these cheap DVDs of comedies once in a while. And then the last one here is King Ralph. Although I might just pick another bunch of DVDs from behind me if my battery will allow me to keep going, which we shall see. Or it might just be another abrupt ending like the last one, which was annoying. But King Ralph, this is about John Goodman, who is there's this ridiculous scene in the beginning, which is supposed to be ridiculous, but it's the royal family in England. They're taking a picture, and something happens with the electricity, and they all die. And the closest relative is John Goodman, who is this lounge singer or whatever. I don't know what it's. What was he? A good-natured Las Vegas lounge singer, yeah. And he's the closest relative, and so he becomes the King of England. I do agree with some people that it's not a very funny movie. I mean, I didn't really laugh a lot to watch it. I don't think I laughed at all, really. But maybe a couple times, a few small things, but it doesn't, I don't know, it might not be a funny, haha movie, but it's a fun, enjoyable movie with, yeah, some enjoyable, I don't know, I kind of like it. It was pretty enjoyable. And John Goodman is definitely a favorite of mine. And if you know John Goodman, then he's gonna be very familiar in this movie. He kind of plays he's kind of similar to the Dan character, I guess, in Roseanne. Kind of sort of the same type of personality, which I guess was around the same time. I think he was pretty famous for that show when this movie came out in 1991. So I guess it makes sense. Also with Peter O'Toole and Richard Griffiths is in this as yeah. Oh, and John Hurt is in this too. So a good cast. Okay, let's grab another. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I am back. I just grabbed a bunch of random movies here, and we'll see how many more we have time for. Bully, second-hand store purchase. I barely remember this movie. It's a documentary about bullying in America, but I have to be honest, I'm having a hard time remembering I remember this character, or this he's a real person, obviously, but I don't really remember the movie very well. I sort of remember thinking that I didn't like it too much, which was a bit unfortunate. All I know about, I mean, the main thing I think about still after seeing the movie, which is, I don't know, a bit, I don't know. I remember hearing when this came out that there was a bunch of F-bombs in this, and because of that it was gonna receive a rated R, or an R rating, but because the subject matter was important, it received a PG-13 despite having a bunch of F-bombs. So that's what I remember about this, and unfortunately the movie itself, it wasn't very memorable. I guess it should have been. I don't know why I didn't like it. It just didn't stay with me. Of course, it is an important topic, but the documentary itself, I guess I just didn't think it was all that well made or something. I don't know. Anyway, New York Stories. I think this was a second-hand store find, wasn't it? Or did I order this? I don't think I ordered this. I think I found it at a second-hand store. Yeah, 3 stories, one by Woody Allen, one by Martin Scorsese, and one by Francis Ford Coppola, which he wrote with his daughter, and that one wasn't very good. Woody Allen's story, I don't remember this either. I have no idea what the Woody Allen story was about. I can't remember. And the Martin Scorsese one, I barely remember. So I guess it wasn't that good. I mean, 3 huge names, 3 of the best directors from America. It doesn't have to mean that the movie will end up anyway, and you know, it wasn't anything great, I guess. But it was mainly because of Woody Allen that I wanted to see that, and I have been wanting to see that for quite a while. So then we have Aberration. Really bad horror movie that you should stay away from. I don't really know why I watched it. I just found it and I thought, hey, could be a hidden gem, horror gem. Nope. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This one I actually turned off because it wasn't my type of movie, and I just couldn't keep up with what was happening. To be honest, I wasn't really that interested. I kind of liked it for a while, but then I was like, oh, I don't care what's going on anymore, and so I kind of turned it off. And I never do that, but with that one I did. Monty Python Live at the Hollywood Bowl. This one I hadn't seen before, and so I definitely enjoyed this as a huge fan of Monty Python. Actually, here we have another new movie, which I should have included before, but I guess I missed it. Well, slightly new. Deepwater Horizon, pretty good movie. I just thought it was a bit dark. I mean, visually dark. Some scenes were kind of not hard to see what was going on necessarily, but they were just a bit too visually dark. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's all I have to say. It was pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Well, let's skip those actually. We have some Hellraiser. Bloodline, Inferno, Hellseeker, and then I think this one goes in between Hellseeker and Hellworld. Deader. So I guess this is number 7. If that's the 8th, I think, is that the 8th one? Anyway, maybe, yeah, okay. I think so, yeah, because there are 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to see, I had never seen these, well, actually, I did own Bloodline and Inferno on DVD, and I had seen Bloodline, but I wanted to see them all again. Yeah, this it's actually quite a while ago since I bought these. I think it's been like a year or something like that. But it did take me a while to actually sit down and watch them. So, but actually, Bloodline, the one that I had, the only one out of these that I had seen before, ended up being the one that I enjoyed the most, and the rest of them I didn't really pay much attention because they're not very good. For the most part, I don't think they're very good. But yeah, I just wanted to see them because I had, I got the Scarlet box from Arrow, I think 2 years ago almost, and there were some documentaries on that set about the later movies, but I didn't want to watch that until I had seen those movies, and so that's kind of why I bought those. But I also just wanted to get them and see them and own them. So that was that. And yeah, actually now the battery tells me to stop, so I will do that. So I guess I talked about movies now for almost an hour, and I kind of enjoyed it actually. So it might not be too long until I make the next one. We shall see. But I suppose if you have any requests, you could leave them down below, and maybe I can see I'll see what I can do. But otherwise, yeah, we'll see when I'll be back. I don't really know. If you recall what I said in the beginning of part 1, yeah, we'll see. But thanks for watching. I'm glad that I made a video finally, or 2 of them actually. And yeah, that's that. So I'll see you eventually, and take care.